Welcome to Faith, Love, and Therapy, a podcast to encourage and inspire. I'm your host, Jamie Johnson. I'm a licensed clinical social worker, and I'm grateful that you're here as we peel back the layers of mental health from a faith perspective. Today, I'm excited to welcome my second guest of the year, Carlton Morant. He is a friend. He is a poet. You can find him as Lil Cam on Instagram. And I wanted to have the opportunity to sit with a male friend, a peer that I could just talk about mental health from his perspective today. And so welcome, Cam. Welcome, CJ. How are you?
I'm good. Hello, everybody.
Thank you for coming. Thank you for allowing me to take the time to kind of pick your brain as we just talk a little bit about mental health. And there's no right or wrong answer, just wanting to talk and see your perspective, because I think it is important with how mental health has progressed over the years, and particularly what we're seeing that's happening with a lot of men. Specifically, we are seeing a lot with Black men, especially in the media and things that are happening around you all and to you all. And so I wanted to take a moment to really pause and have a moment just to listen to what your perspective is and go from there, if you're all right with that today.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Don't say mm-hmm. Be excited. No, I'm kidding. All right. So just, let's start with just kind of your perspective when you think about mental health for men and maybe what you've experienced, what you've seen in your peers. What are some of the major issues that men are dealing with, when it comes to mental health?
Anxiety, depression, things of that nature for the most part.
Okay. And so when you see the anxiety and depression, because women are definitely experiencing that too, how does it look different, or what are some of the issues that may be a bit different for men?
I mean, it's hard to tell what it looks like until it'll be like an episode or something, because most of the time we are taught as men, and mostly Black men, that we can't express ourselves.
Okay.
Like if we are too emotional, we are weak.
Mm. So you find that you have to balance what is expected of you as well as maybe what you're internally going through.
Yeah.
Okay. So what are some of the things that, and I hear one of the things is what people think being a man looks like. That is affecting the mental state of you. And like you said, particularly Black men, because Black men are taught about being strong and not crying. And we hear that often. And then, we as women want a man that, has some emotion. We don't, we don't want y'all to be emotionless, because that's a problem too. So when you think about those expectations, what are some other things that are impacting just the way that you all are able to process your emotions or affecting your mental health in general?
Media.
Okay.
And like I said, media and family, what we are taught as when we were young,
Mm-hmm.
up to now, because now things have changed. We are being told it's okay to cry, it's okay to be upset, not too upset. Mm-hmm. It's okay for us to show more emotion than being nonchalant and stuff like that, which I have a problem with.
With being nonchalant?
Yeah.
Okay. And so when I think of that as how you've learned to cope, right? How you learn to deal with things as being nonchalant. And, we know that you're not alone in that process. There are a lot of men who are I won't use the word accused, but a lot of women will say, okay, I don't like how nonchalant you are, or I don't like how disconnected you are, or that you don't want to share your emotions with me. But what I hear you saying is like, there's a bit more freedom to do so, but y'all still haven't been really given the opportunity or the space to do it authentically.
No, not really.
Not really.
Because when we do, like from my experience, when we do tell like our girls, our women, how we feel, it ends up being thrown back at us, not right then, but later in the future.
Okay. So would you say that, I'm not going to say this is what you're saying, but I want to be clear. Are a lot of the issues that you're identifying, are they coming from women or are they coming from society?
Society.
Okay.
I need you to.
You want to clear that up?
Yeah.
Just say it's not all of us, but it may be. But it may be. So you are saying in relationship, there are times where women are do not allow you to be safe, allow men to be safe or open in a safe space.
Not a lot of time.
Okay. I mean, I get that. So when you think about your own mental health journey, and you talk about being nonchalant, what other ways have you learned to cope? Like, how do you deal with the stress and the expectations that society has placed on you?
I try and be different, to be honest. Like, I try to go out more, see more things.
Mm-hmm.
That helps me break out of the shell that I put myself in.
Yeah.
And my poetry has helped me a lot, to be honest.
Good. Yeah, I think like being creative allows you to, in a way, express the things that you don't say. Like it gives space for that. How long have you been writing?
Since high school.
Okay.
Yeah, so sophomore year, 10th grade.
Okay. And you're not in high school anymore.
Mm-mm.
So it's been over 20 years? No, over 15 years?
I know our 10-year reunion has already passed. I know that much.
Okay.
I lost count.
Sir, you're not that old. So, but you're old enough to realize that, this particular coping strategy has been beneficial for you for a while.
Yeah.
Okay. And so you said you also try to get out more to get out of your shell that you put yourself in. So you're saying you like to travel, you like to just go out. Okay.
Both.
Okay. So traveling and kind of getting out of the four walls helps you to deal with stress and anxiety and depression and things like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or just simply, if I can't go out, I'll just open the blinds, let more natural light in.
Yeah, I think that's important. Some of the small things, and I think I've said it on the show before, like some of the small things are the most beneficial things when you need to just kind of get in the space of something healthier. So being able to open the blinds, get natural sunlight, eating, drinking, making sure you're tending to the things that you need, moving around, getting out, all of those things do help with mental health. So because when you think of how we can help men to talk more about their mental health, what would you advise those of us that love our men, our brothers, our fathers, our cousins, our friends, our men? What would you say are ways to help you all be more comfortable sharing?
Like, how can I say this?
Be honest now. Get close to the mic. People need help.
If you want us to be vulnerable, you also have to be vulnerable. Like how, I'll give an example. If he says that you are part of the problem, you can voice your opinion, but you can't get completely mad or upset about it.
Okay. So if he expresses that part of his issue is something that she's doing,
Yeah.
then being receptive enough to hear what that is and hear it in a way that's respectful without reacting.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you think that, I'm not challenging you on that. I think that's a good point. I also think delivery is important on both ends.
Yeah.
So how a woman responds to you as well as how you sent that information, both of those things.
Yeah, both of us, we got to be respectful in what we do.
Absolutely.
What we say.
Right. And so really what I hear you asking for the most is space to be vulnerable and space to be honest about what you feel without feeling attacked maybe or shut down, or what word would you use? I don't want to put it in without feeling what.
Shut down.
Okay. Okay. So are there some things that you think that don't involve us that men need to be doing for themselves?
Without repeating myself, that's all I can think of is, like I said, just be more vulnerable. Find somebody, because it doesn't necessarily have to be a woman. It could be your brother. It could be your bro, your friend, anybody, your pastor, anybody that's willing to listen and actually help you with that problem.
Yeah. Yeah. So finding support, community. And that's something that I think sometimes it seems like it's easier for y'all, but I'm learning more and more that that is not the case. Like women probably have that social circle thing down a little bit better.
But with everybody, like, I'm being taught the same thing that my brother or my cousin, my grandfather, my father has been taught.
Yeah.
That we really can't express ourselves too much or else we'll be less of a man. So.
Yeah. So if y'all are coming together, even as community, the way that you come together is not in a vulnerable way. I saw this recently. I saw I don't think it was a post. It was somebody's video. It was a reel or something. And a guy was he was panning the room of a men's healing circle. And so it was, they were resting. Some of them were crying. There was music. There was what seemed like, because all of it wasn't shared, but it seemed like someone that was encouraging them and speaking into them. And I thought that was a really amazing space that we don't see that often. And it was all Black men. It's specifically for men to have the space to really rest and process their emotions and have support, which typically what we normally would see is y'all, playing video games together, or y'all,
joking around
or going to play ball, which I think that there's value in all of that. I'm not taking that away. Play video games with your friends, play ball, do the things that you do. But what you're specifically talking about is the ability to be vulnerable in that space or with other men. And so I think it's important, an important point that you're making of creating space for men to be vulnerable and to talk about things in a way that can infuse humor, because humor is still healing, but it allows y'all to really be honest and not have that perspective that came from generations before you. So you see your generation changing, wanting to be more vulnerable, trying to be more vulnerable.
Yeah, through mostly social media, but I'll say my biggest example is my cousin.
Okay.
Because with him doing a lot, he does, I think I told you, clothes, photography, and all that. That puts a lot of stress. And now he's a father. So I see him, he'll catch himself, or he'll post on social media that he's been working on himself better.
Yeah.
So that he won't break down. So I think now with this generation, we are learning more about our mental health and
Okay. And your generation, because you're what, 37? How old are you? Remind me.
Lord Jesus, I haven't even hit 30 yet.
I always try to put you in. I don't know why I do that.
I am. I'm about to be
9.
Yeah.
That's right.
I'm going to be 30 this year.
I keep forgetting that. Yeah. Carlton sometimes has an old spirit, so I can't, I forget that he hasn't quite hit the 30 mark.
I don't know if that's good or bad.
Well, I can't. I'm not going to go there. But yeah, I'm glad that you have somebody that kind of, what I'm hearing is is open to being honest about how he feels and what he's struggling with. And I think that's another thing. Men are not hiding, or they're not being quiet about what's hurting them, but they still have to deal with the response, which I think is still a challenge for society. Like, we're still not ready. We're still not completely responding in a way that is supportive to men. And there was a recent study about young men actually being struggling the most because they are also struggling with being lonely. They're like one of the loneliest populations at this point. And I don't know, are you seeing that in like your peers?
Yeah, especially with me.
Okay.
But yeah, because it's hard to say. It's not just it's brought into this generation, but also with what we listen to, what we watch, we are taught that we have to be, I want to say grinding,
Okay.
but it's basically hard working.
Okay.
Like, we have to get that bag, get this, get that, and we have to do it on our own, or else basically we can't brag about it and all that, even though our family sort of helped us, our friends sort of helped us.
Yeah.
So it's just that on top of, for me at least, it's hard to find somebody.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's a combination of, I need to be successful, like financially is what I hear.
Yeah.
I need to be financially successful. I need to go after these particular goals, numbers. Like, is there a identified bag?
Yeah. Goals.
Okay. So I need to go over I need to accomplish these goals on my own. I may have a little bit of help, but I need to really grind it out myself.
Yeah.
And while I'm grinding it out, somehow I'm supposed to find someone to be with.
Yeah.
And because I'm focused on the grind, I'm not necessarily finding the person to be with. And so it's lonely on the grind, but it's also lonely because I have no one.
Yeah. It's, how do they say it? It's lonely at the top.
Right.
Yeah.
But this pursuit, and help me, I have noticed, right? I've noticed that particular mindset and that particular grind. But then when you think about successful relationships, do you see men that are the most successful prior to connecting with someone or after? When you think of the grown men in your life, right, that are successful or that you've seen on social media or wherever the case may be, those that you may find to be motivating or inspirational in your life, did they get that bag 100% before they found someone?
I don't know people like that.
Okay. Thank you for being honest.
So I can't really say
okay.
yes or no.
Okay. So what I have seen, this is not always the case, but I have seen this a lot. There's a different gear that men go into when they are in a healthy relationship.
Yeah.
And so I think there's the importance of pursuing certain things early in life for men. A level of integrity, a level of like commitment to working, a commitment to, going after something, pursuing goals. But I wonder if sometimes like the finish line, y'all are looking at the finish line or a certain, marker, and you're not looking at anything else.
Yeah.
And then you look up, and maybe you have made it to that marker, or you're on your way to it, but it's taking longer than expected. And you look up and you're like, I can't find anyone.
Yeah.
So are you putting focus on the goals and then say, okay, the partner is going to have to come later in life?
Yeah, basically.
Okay. And so you can deal with the loneliness until you reach that certain marker of success.
Yeah, because how can I say this? Basically you don't want anything to deter your focus.
Okay.
In a sense.
Okay. And women do that to men.
Not on purpose.
No.
But it's not that. It's just like there's more responsibilities, I guess, or duties. Because when you find that one, like now, you have to. Well, it's not like now, but it's more emphasis. You have to be consistent. I mean, if you have a child with that person, now you have to make sure your child is safe, you're providing for that person. All that is, you have to give your time to your wife or your spouse or your child, when that time could be spent on other goals. Not saying that they can't do those goals.
Yeah.
It's just it'll take a little bit longer.
True. Okay. I mean, I don't disagree. I think I understand that there is a lot of work to be done in order to get to a certain place in life. I do also think that there is a shift for many, and you tell me if I'm wrong, but in your generation, and I keep saying I'm not too far. Well, yes, I am. But I'm not too far out of your generation. But okay, sir. But that there is kind of a shift that I've noticed where relationships are taking a backseat, or they're not seen as like
as important.
Yeah.
From what I'm seeing, it's more of the woman's perspective, because back then it was taught to them that you have to get a man or else you're not complete. So now it's, you still can be your own person. You still can be complete. Get your goals without a man.
That is the mindset.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
is that affecting how men are seeing themselves, do you think? Or how y'all feel about yourself? Is that contributing to the loneliness? Women are kind of, I can do what I need to do, and I don't really need a man to.
I'll say it's a little bit harder to get that person.
Yeah. Absolutely. Okay. So the drive for success and the lack of companionship, lack of a partner, because it's hard to balance both in that process, contributes to the loneliness that we're seeing with men, young men particularly. Yeah. Well, from that like late 20s to, I think the research was saying, even into early 40s or mid 40s. So there's a space of a lot of men that are feeling very, very lonely. Do you think that that drive, that grind that y'all have, do you think that it's healthy? It's mentally healthy?
It can be when you balance it, but when that's all you see, it can take a toll on you.
Yeah. When you say, what do you mean when that's all you see?
All you see is your goals. And if you take, like, if you're, I want to say obsessed with it, like, you can't take breaks, you can't do anything else but that. You have to get that degree, or you have to get that, like I said, that amount of money, or you have to get that job, that promotion, that car. Yeah. And that's all you see. You can't take breaks or anything. It can take a toll.
Yeah. But where did the where did that come from? Like, that has to be what you do. What is that?
A lot of places. It's hard to say one place. Like I said, media, maybe family.
Okay.
But mostly media.
Okay. And that pressure that comes through media and possibly family is more directed, you feel, towards men than it is towards women. Like women getting, the bag or going to a certain level of success.
Not now.
Okay.
It's more, I see it as more it's equal because now we got more female rappers, female artists that's rapping the same thing or singing about the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
I think it's more equal now.
Yeah. So I've heard you mention media a couple of times and now music. And so when we talk about what's influencing y'all and what's influencing how you think things should be, your emotional state, it sounds like a big part of that is coming from scrolling. Like it's coming from social media, it's coming from the music choices. And are we making good choices with what we are consuming if it's affecting us, if it's affecting men and how they view themselves and what they feel like they should be going after and the pressure? Are we consuming the right things that kind of will lead us in the right direction? Are we consuming some things that maybe, I don't know. What do you think?
When I say it's the media, I don't mean it's like controlling us.
Okay.
It's more like I can persuade you to do something, but it's up to you to actually choose to do it. So basically, if that's, in a sense, yes, if that's all I see, then I'm going to choose to do it that way. But at the same time, I guess I have to choose to manage it better. So I can't really say, I don't know.
Okay. I mean, I think
I had it, but then I lost it.
You good. I don't want to lead you, because in my mind, I'm thinking, well, and even for me, I'm not even talking about like just men. I'm saying in general, when I realize I've been scrolling and like my mood is shifting or I'm thinking about what I'm not or what I don't have. Yeah. And I've been, consuming a lot of other people's content. Sometimes that means I need to like pull back because I'm just too invested in what somebody else has going on, and I can't see my own path, right? And I know for you specifically, like you, like music is big for you, and but honestly, it's mainly Christian music that you like. You create playlists and Christian rap. It's not just Christian rap, but it's
basically all. I generalize it as all Christian and gospel because basically whatever I guess I could say it's secular genre, there is a Christian genre. So it's rap, rock, pop, R&B, all of it. Okay.
But all of yours is the Christian version of those genres of music.
Yeah.
Okay. And I'm going to ask because I want to know your story. Like, why do you tend to lean in on that particular type of music?
Partially because that's what I grew up on. But when I was dealing with depression in high school, that's actually what kept me going.
Absolutely. I get that. I can relate to that. And are you a PK? Preacher's kid?
In a sense, yes. I only say that because my father is a pastor, but I wasn't raised by him.
Gotcha.
So I say in a sense, yes.
Okay. And you have grown up in and around the church your life.
Yes.
And so your music choice is because of the experiences that you've had.
Yes.
Okay. Being raised in the church. So when you were you said high school and struggled with depression, the music
and the poetry
was kind of your outlet. Those were your outlets. Okay. And I think people have to remember again the power of music and also the power of your expressed thought.
Yes.
And sometimes we can't always verbalize what we're feeling or dealing with. And that's why often in therapy we talk about having a journal. But if journaling, just writing out your thoughts isn't it, and you have more of a creative spirit like yourself, like being able to put it in poetry, does give you, the space and the opportunity to share things in a way. And I think you also, I think it's been a while, but you do spoken word events as well. So if y'all are on Instagram and you follow, I think it's under Little Cam,
Little Mr. Cam.
Little Mr. Cam,
Little
LIL,
LIL hyphen MR, not hyphen, sorry, underscore. So basically the spaces have underscores. So LIL MRCAM. You can find me on Facebook, Instagram, Tumblr, and Twitter.
Okay. And so your poetry is up there as well as your playlist. But I think it's important for people to realize that you can find your own outlet that is healthy, that will allow you to process through emotions. And I will say, in high school, when I struggled with depression, music was also an outlet for me. Like, I'd be laying on the floor and Yolanda Adams was singing and, and really working through, what I need to work through. But I wanted to touch on a few other things before we wrap up. With just, the talk about media, and you say it doesn't have to be persuasive, but we've also seen a lot of negative in the media. And so I think it may not persuade us to do certain things, but I do think, and you tell me what you feel, I do think consuming a lot of media that is negative, for instance, when we watch the videos of Black men being killed, Black men being hurt, abused, beat, those videos have a negative impact. And so, are you one that will be able to work through being able to see those videos, or do you protect your mental space by not? Like, how do you engage when you're seeing things like that in the media?
I had what I was going to say.
Well, do you watch the videos or do you?
No, not really. I did when I was younger, and then I just shifted to Christian rap. But it's mostly stuff like, if I don't really support it, then I don't listen to it. So like all the gangster rap, doing drugs, all that stuff.
You stay away from that. But even when I'm talking about like some of the videos that are of violent things that are happening to Black men by the police, things of that nature, do you shield yourself against those things as well?
What do you mean, like
the recent Memphis killing of that young man?
I haven't seen that video, but I tend to look at it just to see my opinion, just to find an opinion on it. Well, not find, but like sometimes I think some things happen by accident, but I can't say anything about this particular thing. But at the same time, you have to, how is it said? You do the crime, you have to take the punishment.
Well, so what I do hear you saying is you want to be able to make a decision by seeing it. You don't want to say this is what happened, or this is what I think, or this was wrong, and you haven't seen what actually occurred.
Yeah.
Okay. I will say, because you haven't seen the one from Memphis, that one was not a situation of he did something wrong. That was a situation of they definitely did something wrong. And so what I do hear is that you are selective. Hopefully you are selective about what you're taking in.
Yes.
But when you want to, if you want to have an opinion on something, you're just not going to jump on the train and say, this is what, I agree with everybody else.
No.
I want to see what happened and kind of go from there. Okay. Kind of wrapping up, when you think about mental health for Black men, for men, you could say for men, and what I've heard so far is how you're engaging in relationship impacts you. The the expectations that are placed on men emotionally, but also, in regards to society, like the expectations of what you need to accomplish. Those things also create a level of pressure that impacts your mental health.
Yes.
What you're consuming impacts your mental health.
Yes.
Whether or not you're successful
Yeah.
impacts your mental health. And that's kind of where I want to land, and we'll kind of tie up here, is who's determining what makes you successful?
A mixture of yourself and what you see around you.
Okay.
Like if you see your friends or your family doing more than you, especially if they're like younger or the same age as you or in the same age group as you, and you're just looking at them like, I should be where they are. So it's a mixture of what you see and what you believe.
Yeah. I just want to, as we're wrapping up, kind of take a moment to encourage men, Black men, but also, men in general. But I think my heart in this moment is talking to Black men and being able to identify what is success for yourself is incredibly important, because everybody will try to tell you who you should be.
Yeah.
And the pressure to try to accomplish that is beyond feasible. Like it's not feasible to achieve what everybody else thinks you should achieve, or what people are saying that they're achieving, but you don't know that that's true.
Yeah.
And so, like, Black men are dying by suicide at an escalated rate. Black men are dying by violence at an escalated rate. Black men are leaving this earth in a way that I'm not going to say we've never seen it before, but these generations, we haven't seen it because we didn't live through slavery, and we didn't live through, a time period where Black men were being hung, Black men and women were being hung. But we are seeing Black men being destroyed in ways that is harmful to all of us. And so my encouragement for you all, one is that help us to help you. Help us to create safe spaces for you by communicating with us in a way when you can, because I know all of us ain't done the healing process.
Yeah.
But communicate with us in a way that allows that we can hear you, and that we could be supportive, and we can give you what you need, but also that we're receiving the things that we need. But also, I would say, identify who God says you are.
Yes.
And who you're going to be, rather than what media is saying, because there are some things that you're only going to accomplish by the grace of God.
Yes.
There's some places and spaces that you will only reach when you surrender your plans and what you identified as your purpose to God, and being able to say, I don't know every step. This is what I desire, God, but if you know better, and we know He does, your will be done. And so being able to really get in that headspace that God really does want you to be great, as you would say. He does want you to be greater and do greater works in the earth. But if you're feeling like you don't measure up, or that you're not enough, or that comparison thing that happens when you're looking at other people that are achieving, all of that is going to hinder you from really being the person that you could be, and knowing that there is always a call on our life to be something, to do something.
Yes.
When we talk about call, we don't necessarily mean a call to pastor, call to ministry, but a call to do something in the earth. And when we're consumed by what is happening as we scroll, and when we're consumed by achieving certain markers of success that the world has identified, sometimes we miss God.
Yeah.
And so my hope for you is, one, that you continue to do the creative things that you do, but allow God to do a work in you to release some of the things, the expectations that have been placed on you, because you really could just accomplish, great things without looking to the left or to the right and thinking you're not doing enough. You're gonna be able to do greater things when you allow yourself to just rest in who you are. And so y'all make sure that you connect with Carlton Morant on Instagram, as he's giving you his social media contact. And I just want to say thank you for taking a moment to share your opinion and your thoughts. And I know you're a little nervous, but you did great. You know, it's not easy to be vulnerable, even in this space where it's just the two of us. Yeah. So I'm grateful for you allowing me to ask you some questions. And so, y'all, I thank you for joining me on another episode of Faith, Love, and Therapy. And I will see you next time.